Hey, it's Packy from the house, and today we're going to give you one tip to improve your bowling approach.
Not sure what weight ball he throws, but that's always something that is pretty interesting to me because I think choosing the correct ball weight is something that is can be really big for somebody that young when they come into the bowling world. But Henry's got a really solid game. He has a ton of rev rate for someone this young, and I think that's absolutely awesome. And we're going to give Henry a couple tips here on what he can do a little better to hopefully join us out on tour one of these days. But yeah, so the very first thing um, I like to talk about is I think he's got a little funky footwork here. You see in the third step, he kind of big crossover there where you see his right foot's going to cross way out in front of him. And I think that's okay. A little bit too far. Something I would like to see Henry do. He uses a 5-step approach to the first step, kind of little baby step right out in front. A lot of guys do that. But if he could get this second step almost right in front of this other foot, instead of, he probably drifts anywhere between, six, maybe eight, maybe 10 boards in that second step he has. And then you see him cross way over there. And I think it makes it really hard for this fourth step or this third step to clear his other foot. So you see him with this weird like step over on his left leg. So the first tip I would give to Henry would be to try and just walk like you're walking down the street. Don't try and walk like you're trying to throw a bowling ball. Just walk like you're walking down, you're walking along in the grocery store with your parents or whatever. Like just try and just give a nice casual walk to the line instead of trying to bowl. So that would be my first tip. The second tip I have for Henry is he has a great push away, but he does have a pretty high swing. And because of that, it seems like he kind of pulls it down from the top. So this is okay. It's pretty high arm swing. A lot of power players have high arm swings, but I would like to see him use a little less muscle from the top. So right here, and it looks like from here to about here, he really like tries to pull it down. And what I would like to see is him kind of just let the ball flow. Well, if you view it in normal speed, you can see it a little better. But yeah, if you could try and just let it flow from the top to the bottom of the swing, you know, the best professionals on tour, their arm never gets tired, they never get sore, sore shoulders or arms because they don't pull it down from the top. They just kind of, you have this great push away and then there's no need for muscle after that. So the next piece of advice would just be, try and keep a little looser arm swing. And I don't think there's anything really to that besides just practicing not pulling it down. Maybe if you tried to, you know, decrease the push away a little bit, don't throw it so far out in front of you, then you wouldn't have to like yank it down from the top to get your ball um, in that good timing slot. And the third thing I would say for Henry, and probably the most important thing, would be to try and get your hand inside the ball a little bit. So, right at the very release, his hand is behind the ball. You see right here, his arm is in line, hand behind the ball. And then as it comes down to the bottom, so you see it's behind it, but then you see his hand is on the outside of the ball at release. And what you want is you want your thumb to come out of the ball when your hand is behind it instead of outside on the right side of the ball like this. A lot of kids, have the same problem where they get their hand on the outside of the ball to try and create ball rotation, but rotation doesn't always mean it's gonna hook more. And a lot of the best guys on the PBA tour, um, guys like Sean Rash, Bill O'Neill, Chris Prather, they get their hand up the back of the ball to make it hook more. So that would be something that I would also suggest to Henry, would be to try and get his hand more on the inside of the ball, or even, hand, elbow, arm. Like if you get your forearm, elbow, and hand on the inside of the ball, it's almost impossible to get your hand on the outside if your forearm and elbow are on the inside. So I would say just try and get your arm a little, or your elbow a little more inside the ball, and with that your hand will also be more inside. And that doesn't mean that you can't rotate it. It just means that your hand is going to be a little more up the back of the ball. And then when your thumb gets out, then your fingers can come across the outside of the ball. So it's not necessarily your thumb and fingers that do the rotation. It would be just your fingers. So your thumb clears it when you're in the back of the ball, and then your fingers would rotate around the side. And we're going to watch one more. He actually sent in 2 video clips that were kind of attached. And I actually really like the second one. You see he falls off balance in the first one, but this second video, he throws a way better shot. He stays on balance, and we'll watch it one more time. Doesn't quite pull it down as much from the top. And you see when he doesn't pull it down, it actually allows him to stay on balance. So he kind of eliminated that muscle, and thus was able to throw a way better shot. And my favorite part of the video is probably this right here. He's super excited. He struck, got it on camera. And that's really what it's about. It's about having fun bowling. And I still have these same reactions when I'm bowling, to be honest. But yeah, I'd give a couple tips like that. We talked about a little less muscle from the top of the swing. We talked about, kind of just walking up to the lane normally instead of trying to walk a specific way to bowl. And then keeping your hand inside the ball. So those are the 3 things that I'm going to highlight today for Henry. But he throws it great, gets a ton of rev rate, gets a little bit of leverage down there, and he hooks it a ton, which is something that you rarely see out of somebody this young.
If you enjoyed our review and want a review of your own, click the link in the description for a 50% off discount for your review to get uploaded to our YouTube channel.